Yeah, you know what it is. It's go time. Welcome to the Second Chance Live series. It's your host, Darryll Stinson, and I got my guy, Frank D. Murphy, with me. Man, I remember running into this guy. We were talking about potentially hosting, being a venue for your event that you were having with Mentoring with Purpose charity. He came by the church just to scope us out. And man, we ended up just chopping it up. I love his energy. Man, such a positive guy. He got the message. He knew what the transition struggles was like. I mean, I felt like I was back in the locker room just like that, y'all. And he's a former NFL player. He's a best-selling author, motivational speaker. Man, you guys are going to be blessed by his message and his voice today. I encourage you, if you're watching on Facebook, to go ahead and host a watch party. What that's going to do is let all of your followers know that we are live with the Frank D. Murphy today, and they'll be able to join in on this conversation. And then also, if you're watching on another platform, just go ahead and hit that share button. If you haven't already accessed the book and purchased it, go to secondchanceathletes.com. Access the book. Today's the last day to get access to the hundreds of dollars worth of bonuses that we're giving away. The Purpose Made Profitable First 5 Lessons, the ebook, the private interview with me and David Meltzer, and all the replays of the interviews that we've been doing with experts, former pros, athletes, trainers, all that stuff. So make sure you go ahead and grab that today. And remember that 100% of all the proceeds are going to support inner city youth sports programs in honor of the Trooper Mike White. So Frank D. Murphy founded Mentoring with Purpose charity, a nonprofit organization on a mission to inspire and empower young men and women to achieve their full potential as leaders. He hosts the annual Put Down Your Fake ID Leadership Conference and is also the best-selling author of The Man Behind the Helmet, which I know we're going to talk about. Frank, man, I can't thank you enough for coming on. Say what's up to the people.
What's up, y'all? This is your boy, Frank D. Murphy, man. I'm excited to be on here. Anytime I get an opportunity to share what God is doing in my life, from hard work, dedication, but most importantly, trusting him, man, it's definitely an opportunity, not an obligation.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. I love for those who are unfamiliar with the success that you have had on the field, for you to just walk them through your journey, where you played at, and how did you, get into the league, and what was that like?
My journey started in high school, All-American in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, Callahan, Florida. I went to junior college in Mississippi, made some mistakes and got kicked out of junior college, and got blessed to go to another junior college in Garden City, Kansas, where I began to find out who I really was, and I had to make some changes in order for me to be successful. I found myself in trouble there, but God be the glory. The grace and the mercy that he provided gave me another opportunity, and I end up my last year in junior college winning a Heisman Trophy in junior college, all pro, all American, those types of things in junior college, and went on to sign with Kansas State University. I had choices from Tennessee, Florida State, and I chose Kansas State University under Bill Snyder, legend. And went on to there, had a good career up and down as far as injuries, but got an opportunity to get drafted. Still got blessed to get drafted in the NFL by the Chicago Bears. And went on and played for teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 3 more years, and then played another year in Houston, and then played a year in Miami. Then I went to the CFL for 1 year. So then I realized, as I was still getting these offers, I was realizing that my body was breaking down, brother, and it was time for me to it's time for me to call it quits. And then I had ministry going on. So I had a choice one day. I got a call from a team and they offered me a deal. I was excited. I was like, yeah, man, we don't turn down no money. We ready to play. We love the game. And I took the offer and hung up the phone. At the same time, I was mentoring youth with my program, the Frank D. Murphy curriculum. And man, as I hung up the phone, I began to see those kids cross my face like, man, I'll be leaving them just like everybody else has. And man, from that day, I said, you know what? I called that GM back and say, man, I'm not going to be able to come. I say, I'm going to stay put and do the things that I feel like that I'm doing now, which is ministry, and impact this next generation with the purpose that God put in me. And from that point on, I've been hitting Mentor on Purpose charity full throttle, impacting
Yeah.
lives. And that's
Yeah.
been going on since 2008, 2009 when
Yeah.
I started the charity.
Yeah, man, I want to get into that, but before we do, I'd love for you to share the powerful story that is that you mentioned in the book, because I want people to go and support the book. But Tony Dungy played a pivotal role in helping you become who you are today and give you another opportunity. I'd love for you just to share that story.
Well, started basically where I come from. The situation that I was experiencing in Jacksonville, Florida, growing up, it's not all about the parents you have all the time. I had two good parents doing the best they can. Sometimes it's about the environment. You know, the environment can shape the way you see things, the way you think, what you
Hmm.
hear, and then it can have you tap into something that I call a fake ID. A fake ID is a picture of you, but everything on there a lie.
Right.
Tap into my fake ID. And I talk about this a lot when I do speaking engagements, the fake ID. And I tapped into that fake ID, man, because I felt like in that community, in my neighborhood, that my parents didn't know that was going downhill and getting bad and bad and bad. They didn't see it. They was green to it. But man, I began to tote firearms. I began to rob. I began to have shootouts. Of course, I was into selling drugs. Man, I was so far tapped into that fake ID, it was like no return until we understood, and I understood that it's a thing called the grace of God, and God is more than a second and third and fourth chance. And
Hmm.
I went on, brother, and I found myself incarcerated at the age of 15. I was behind bars. I walked in. You could smell the stankness of the sauce. You could smell the ore. You could see the chip paint. And as I walked through those doors, man, I knew that this is not where I'm supposed to be.
Hmm.
So I had to survive. I was in there for almost a year before I went to trial and won. I knew I had to, trust God. And
Hmm.
when I got out, I began to play football because that was one way I can release. That was
Right.
one way I can express myself without, without putting myself in situations and circumstances that can cause me to go back to jail. So I found myself being an All-American and went on, like I said, on to junior college. But it's something that's called residue. That residue followed me. I thought it was off, but that residue followed me. And then I found myself doing the same thing in my first junior college and got kicked out. And he was getting ready to send me home. And my mom said, if you send him home, he'll be dead.
Mm.
And that coach said, you know what? I think I got another place for him. And he got me into Garden City. And you would have thought I learned my lesson, but like I try to tell people, it's like when you paint, you can go take a shower, but it's going to be some little spots on you.
Hmm.
And that's
Hmm.
called residue, as I was saying before. And I went to Garden City, man, and had residue on me there. I found myself getting incarcerated again. Went to trial for, being accused of having a shootout and selling drugs and things of that nature in junior college.
Mm.
Um, I thought my career was over. But man, God sent me some people and that's why everybody needs somebody in their life that can speak the truth into their life.
Yep.
Not just the word of God, but speak truth into their life on the level that they own at that time.
Hmm.
And that's what helped me, man. I met a lady by the name of Miss Cheryl. She's a janitor. That's why I say you can't look down on nobody, man.
That's
Because
right.
you never know who God sent in your life to change your life and to put you on a different path to set you up for success.
Hmm.
And for you to fulfill your God-given purpose, because she helped put definition behind my name. She didn't let my purpose go to the graveyard because she believed in something bigger than me. She
Hmm.
wasn't seeing me; she was seeing the God-given purpose in me and how many
Hmm.
people would impact if I start making better decisions. And
Hmm.
that janitor told me, she said, "Frank, you're gonna change the world, and you
Hmm.
just don't know it." I laughed. I say, "Lady, you don't even know what I've been through, who I am, nobody won't even talk to me on this campus." And man, from that day forward, she said, "Will you go to church with me?" I say, "Shoot, I'm suspended, waiting on trial. I might as well do something." So I went to church with her, and man, it changed my life. It brought back what my mom and dad put in me.
Hmm.
The neighborhood tried to take out of me.
Right. Right.
Um,
That's good.
and I started going back to church. I picked back up on doing what I was doing, and the following year, man, I was the All-American, took us to the national championship, and went on to Kansas State, and then got drafted. Of course, I had my fun getting drafted. I partied, I traveled, I did all those things that you dream of doing, buying everything you want, from the jewelry, the cars, the women. Man, I really lived it up. At least I thought that's what it was called, and I really was just muddying, putting the mud in my purpose. Because when you don't know your purpose, man, it's like not knowing your name. You know, and I began to do these things, man. I remember getting drafted, and Chicago and some scouts came up to me, and I was all happy and, you know, talking to scouts, getting ready for the NFL draft. And one scout kept looking up and down. He was looking at my resume. He was looking at my record, and he was like, "Man, I don't know if we can draft you." Ooh. He was looking at all the things that I've been through and bad decisions I made. And man, I was down. And I went home, man. My mama said, "You ready for the draft?" My dad said, "You happy?" I said, "Man, I don't know if they like me like that." My mama said, "What God got for you is for you, son." And I had to do something called the mirror drill. And I tell a lot of people, do the mirror drill. It's called get in front of the mirror, because you can see yourself, you can hear yourself, and build yourself up. And I began to talk to myself. I began to say, I am going to get drafted. I worked too hard. God got a plan. So I started building myself up, motivating myself. After what that scout said. And man, I got drafted in the 6th round by Chicago Bears. And when I left there, that year after that, Coach Dungy got on the phone. He said, "We want to bring you to Tampa." I was so excited, like, man, I get to go back home, sunny weather. And I was like, "I'm ready." He said, "We got to change your position. We know you played running back, but you're big and fast. We want to move you to receiver, because we already have two good running backs like Ward Dunn and Mike Allstott." So they already had running back. So I said, "I don't care." So I went there and I changed my position. And man, I played receiver. But one thing he told me, he said, "Frank, if you get in any trouble, I'm gonna have to let you go. I see some things that you've been through and things of that nature." And he said, "You know, but I believe in you, and I believe you can accomplish that." He said, "A lot of times we try to take control over situations, when situations are not meant for us to take control over. Situations only meant for us to hand it off. And sometimes, man, think about it as a track meet. If you run the track meet with the baton, you got to hand it off. You can't take control and run the whole race." And I think we get that confused when it comes to this type of things, where God is saying, "Let me take control, hand it off. You've done your part. Now I need you to trust and obey." And as men, I'm speaking of men because I'm a man, that's sometimes hard for us to do when God says, hand it off.
Oh yeah.
And man, I begin to learn by watching Coach Dungy that this is a man of character and integrity. He not only spoke it, but he lived it with his actions in front of us. And I was like, I never met a man that, you know, that say one thing and continue to be that person, that man in front of us. And it was quite an experience. And he left a mark on me that can't be erased. And man, I'm so appreciative. And then he forwarded my book. I'm thankful for that. You know, he don't forward books. So I was just like, whoa, okay, God, thank you for that. So, man, listen, my part one coach told me, he told all us to take a knee in Little League. And he said, some of y'all going to be dead. Some of y'all going to be in jail. Some of y'all going to be selling drugs, on drugs. And we laughed. And come to find out, a lot of us ended up like that. And I say, man, I don't want to never speak that over the next generation life ever again. I began to speak that you're not going to go to jail. You're not going to be on drugs. You're not going to sell drugs. You're not going to be incarcerated. I realized
my bell at, man. I gotta ring this bell for this brother right here, Frank.
You know, brother, it's not about trying to impress.
I know.
On them that if I can do it, if I can make it, if God did it for me, He could do it for you. And so many times we put that trust in our manhood. You know, it's a manhood on the inside of us, and we don't know how to let it go. In certain areas we stronger, in certain areas we weaker, but God saying those areas that you weak, I want to make you strong. Not you make yourself strong, not another person make you strong. I want you to trust me and depend and rely on me so I can make you strong. And if you depend on something else, you're going to constantly bump the wall. You're going to constantly fail. And I'm thankful that you know, that I came to a place to realize that I can't go back to the same neighborhood that I was in. You know, you can't keep it real with something that's fake. And that's what I was doing. I was going back to the neighborhood, hanging around the same guys while I'm in the NFL.
Right.
And I remember one time I was around my friends because, you know, that's the things they do, sell drugs, carry firearms, things like that's the environment that they used to. That's what they live. And my cousin started shooting right in front of me, shooting at somebody. He didn't even have enough respect to say, my cousin in the league, I shouldn't even be arguing with somebody and do this. And he just starts shooting. So we get back to his house around the corner and they're inside. I'm on the porch just thinking like, why am I even around this? What am I doing? And as soon as I start talking to myself, a car pulled up and a guy pulled a chopper out and was finna spray the whole house up. And I was the only one on the porch. And he looked at me and he said, Frank, you need to talk to your cousin because what I was about to do until I seen you.
Right.
At that point, man, I had to change my environment. I had to change the people I hang around. I had to make some tough decisions. And I had to move forward. And I did that. You know, sometimes, man, we try to show and write our own purpose. We try to write our own story. And that's one thing about when God puts you in a situation, you gotta understand, you gotta be in the right position for success. A lot of times we make our own position, put ourselves in this position because it look good, sound good, or social media told you, or your favorite rapper, or your favorite singer said it. So you want to be in a position that they say, but God say, no, I got a position carved out for you. And that position is ordained by God. It got everything you need to be successful, everything you need to break through, everything you need to make it to the next level of what he's showing you. And it's just like Peyton Manning, man. I remember Peyton called me one day. It was some years back. And he said, man, come catch for me. You busy? I'm like, no, I'm good. So he said, I'm going to have another quarterback with me. I said, okay, cool. I'm in shape. So I got down there. It was him and Tom Brady. I said, man, I'm finna catch for two of the best quarterbacks that ever played the game. So I was excited. And I started to notice something, man. Peyton said, man, if you be right here in this spot, right here in this position where I ask you to be, you're going to catch the ball every time. I'm going to get it there. And I know Tom was just like, get in the area. And I'm going to get it. And I was like, okay. So I noticed how direct Peyton was on everything he did. And every time I was in the right position, bro, I received the ball. Every time I was in the wrong position, a little to the left, a little to the right, the ball would not hit me. Well, I'm telling somebody who's watching this right now, because I'm talking to myself at the same time. If you're not in the right position, you're going to miss the blessing. And God is the quarterback, and he's trying to get us in the right position to give us everything we need to be successful. But we keep trying to take control. Oh, I don't want to be in this position. I don't like the way it feels. Oh, I don't like being right here. You know, you're trying to dictate and control the position when it's all about hearing from God and letting him grow you in that position so you can go to the next level. And man, I began to realize at the end of the day, potential is just potential, brother, till you do something. You know what people always say, you great. You got potential to be the best. You got potential to go to the NFL. They hype you up with potential. So we start living off potential.
Ooh, come on.
It's just potential to you.
Oh, come on.
And I began to learn that potential is how far you can go, but you haven't went yet. Potential is what you haven't did yet. That's potential. Potential is everything you could be, but you haven't became yet.
Yeah.
Something you won't be nothing. And if you not gonna be nothing, then you're not gonna have nothing. And I'm telling you today, man, that even right now as I'm speaking, man, I'm growing in areas that God has exposed in me and say, hey, I need your undivided attention, but most important, I need your undivided trust and obedience. And I keep thumping my toe because I'll give it to him, and then I'll take the baton back and start running, thinking I'm faster than God. I can win this race. God, he just helped that boost, but I got it now. And I keep thumping my toe, dropping the baton, getting disqualified, have to come back to the right position and get in the right position and say, God, hit the baton again. I'm sorry, but he's so merciful. He's so graceful. And just like I was just got drafted from the NFL when I had a good time. Somebody followed me and robbed me, man, and put two guns to my head. I thought my life was over. I said, God, it's going to end like this. I just got drafted. It's going to end like this. And I started talking to myself like, man, guess it's like reap what you sow. I don't know, man. Oh man, here it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel the sweat. I can feel the guys that they wanted to pull that trigger. They wanted to shoot me. But it was something there, and I know it was the grace of God and the mercy of God that was there once again, saving Frank D. Murphy because he couldn't save himself. And man, I'm here to tell you that you may not have two guns to your head, but you may have some pressure on you that's trying to get you to do things, say things, go places that you shouldn't go, that you shouldn't do, that you shouldn't say. And I want to encourage you today that, man, if you just give it 100% to God, and it don't matter how many times you drop the baton, just pick it back up. It don't matter how many times you fall. If you can't get up, if you can't get up, you can't run, then jog. If you can't jog, then man, crawl, but don't stop. Because you will never be able to see the manifestation of God. Just like that scout told me all those things I could have quit. But I knew I had to do the mirror drill and build myself up. I just want to, I mean, this opportunity that you're giving me, brother, is an opportunity that I needed today. I needed to express what I'm expressing to you and the viewers, because I know it can save somebody, because it saved me.
And it's gratitude, man. It's gratitude. And I was telling, we have an addiction recovery ministry here at our church. And so a lot of times people come in with that false identity, right? Like it's exactly, you call it fake ID. I tell them it's street cred. And I say, man, stop trying to live off street cred when you're in recovery, and what we still got that identity attachment. And we talked about being grateful. And I said, listen, I start off every meeting saying this way. I say, welcome to Real Talk Recovery, where the only way for you to get right is for you to get real. I don't know who you are. A lot of y'all are new to this meeting today, but I know one thing about you, that you are better today than you were on your worst day. And that there's somebody that isn't sitting here because they didn't have the opportunity like you had. And so, man, that sets the tone for the meeting. That's what you're talking about right now. Man, that's exactly what you're talking about.
I think all of us have role model capabilities on the inside of us. And because you're going to play a role, somebody going to model it. And never forget that I played a role in front of my brother. I remember he wasn't old enough to get in the clubs, but I just got in the NFL. And, they went card because he was with me. And I was basically giving my brother a preview of what was going to help me fail. Role in front of him, and he played it out even when he got older. Because I introduced him to drinking, I introduced him to partying and girls and stuff. And I'll never forget the day that I talked with him and he said, man, I was trying to live like you taught me and I went broke. I tried to live like you taught me, and he became an alcoholic, bro. And I say, man, I have to pray and go back and rewind, push pause and rewind and see how I can remodel in front of him to play a different role. And I went back and did that, man. He got, blessed and delivered from that and lived on. But I'm saying all that to say, man, people are watching. And you have to make sure that you be in that role model that you call to be. It may not be, it may not feel good at all times, but at the end of the day, it's going to feel good because you obey God. And man, I constantly like to tell people that. They say, Frank, how did you know your purpose? How did you know? I mean, how did you feel it? How did you know? And I tell them this story, man. I was in I played for Miami Dolphins one year, and how we have a hotel by ourselves, a room by ourselves. Everybody have a room by themselves. And this particular game, the night before the game, they oversold the hotel, overbooked. So we had to share rooms. So I'm mad now.
What?
Tradition going of me being, all the stuff that we do as athletes, we want to keep it the same. So I walk in the room that they assigned me to, then he got my side of the bed I like to be on. So I'm like, man, nothing ain't going right. Like, man, I got a game tomorrow. I'm trying to make this team. Man, I want to keep my same routine. Why y'all messed up booking a hotel? Man, we're supposed to have rooms by ourselves. That's the way it's supposed to be. And man, I got in that room, man, and the dude kept staring at me, bro, while I'm unpacking my clothes. And I'm like, what's wrong with this dude? He keeps staring at me. So I finally looked over and said, hey, man, you good? What's going on?
To start something.
Yeah, I had to ask him. He said, man, how did you do it? I say,
Mm.
what? I say, how did I do what? You know, I'm lost now. He said, man, I read an article on you, how you been through all this stuff, incarceration, and man, look at you. He said, man, I see how people look at you in the locker room. You're not even a star player. And I see how everybody look at you, always asking you questions. Now, you know, I ain't noticed none of this. He said, people always asking you questions. People always listen to you. Everybody at your locker. He said, I've been watching that, and I just want to know, how did you do it? He said, Frank, guess what, man? I'm on cocaine every day, and I need your help. And I was like, what? Here I am upset about what room I'm in, why I got a roommate, but God is doing something special for this man and myself, and doing a divine connection for me to help this guy.
Right.
That's when I started to know this is my God-given purpose. So I mentored him, I counseled him, did everything that I could do. I prayed for him. And man, from that point, his family seen me the next year later and hugged me, his kids, his wife. And I was like, whoa. Man, that's why, man, when you on the way fulfilling your God-given purpose, you got to not skip your assignments on the way.
Come on.
If you skip your assignments on the way, you're going to look back and see regret and trail of blood of that you could have had cleaned up, but you were so focused on the purpose. And God always send you assignments along the way to fulfilling your purpose. And I'm telling you now, viewers, do not miss your assignments. I never forget, man, my mom was going through some stuff because my dad just passed away, and I was in Chattanooga, had it made. Good job doing my thing, training at D1, that's Peyton Manning facility, and doing my thing. And I was praying one day, and God said, you need to go home. An hour after that, my sister called me and said, hey, I think you need to come home. I think mama needs you. And I'm like, what? That's just what God was telling my spirit. So I put all my stuff in storage, bro. Got my own place, put all my stuff in storage. I drove my car all the way to Jacksonville, Callahan, Florida. I'm a grown man.
You talking about go home, like move home?
Move home.
Oh, dang. I think you talking about like visit, like catch a flight.
I had to put everything on the shelf, bro. I stopped work. And listen, I'm a grown man going back home to stay with my mom. And I'm thinking, like, what people gonna think? And I said, man, you know, it don't matter what people think. This is what God told me to do. I drove home, got in the house with my mom, stayed with her, and say, Mom, I'm gonna take care, give you something on the bills. I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna take care of that. I'm just here to love on you. So, man, I'm helping my mama through this situation, man. Losing my dad. People looking like, why you back home? You know, they looking like, you staying with your mom, like da-da-da. And man, I asked God, I said, God, can I get my own place? I said, God, can I just get my own place, come over to my mom's house? Because I don't. But see, man, when God give you an assignment, you can't worry about how people see you. You can't worry about how you look when you're in the right position. Because sometimes when you're in the right position, it don't look right. Sometimes it's embarrassing. Sometimes it can bring shame. But I'm telling you, if you're in the right position that God told you to be in, he's going to have the grace, the provision there to take you through it. And man, I helped my mama through that situation, bro. And I couldn't worry about what people thought. Had my own money to do what I need to do, but still did that. Then after that, God gave me another assignment. He said, go stay with your sister. I'm like, bro,
ain't never gonna have your own crib.
no, dude, got money to get my own crib, have everything I need, everything. I put all my stuff in storage because I wanted to obey the voice of God and what he was telling me to do and go. So I went because I know it's life and death. I went, stayed with my sister, slept on the couch, bro. Slept on the couch that I didn't have to sleep on. That's what I'm trying to convey to y'all today. That you just can't talk about it. You got to be about it. You got to be about the assignments of God, the things of God. And you have to be in the right position so you hear clearly, so you can obey. And man, that's what I did. I went there, stayed there, did that ministry. Then God told me I can go. So I went back to Tampa, where all my connections and relationships at, got a place, enjoyed life. But at the end of the day, Darryll Frank, former NFL player, living with his mom on assignment, living with his sister, sleeping on the couch on assignment. He wasn't there just to play around. He wasn't there to worry about shame. He wasn't there to worry about what people thought, how they seen me. I was there to save lives and save souls. That was an assignment along the way that some people get too embarrassed to accomplish. And I'm telling you, if you're on assignment right now, don't get embarrassed. because what God told you to go. Because that will soon fade away and you won't even have that memory no more. The only memory you have that you obeyed God and you saved a life on your way to your purpose. And that's look at how God blessing me now.
Man, that's so important. And what you don't know is, we just finished a 4-part series in our church called Being Spirit Led. And that's what you're describing. I mean, this is a perfect story in life of that's what you're doing, because sometimes God will lead you to do things that don't make no sense in the short term. And sometimes it might not ever make sense on this side of life, but you just got to trust that you heard him and do what he says and that he knows what's best. So, man, I applaud you, because I know that, it ain't always easy obeying God. I know sometimes we think that it's like, oh man, God going, we shout about the blessings and the ups, God's going to break through. But when God calls you to sleep on the couch at your mama house when you don't have to, we ain't shouting about that one.
No, we ain't. I was trying to get back in the NFL because I popped my Achilles at one time, and I was like trying to get back in the NFL. You know how it is with injuries. I had to go prove that I was healthy, because they ain't really, back then they didn't really see a lot of Achilles injuries. So I had to go to Canada. So I went to Canada, played 1 year, man, did an awesome job, and then they say I need to come for 1 more year and show. Well, I said, okay. So I came back. They offered me a contract, dog. I just got at the hotel. You know how hard it is to travel to Canada, going through all the, check-in points and all that. And I got in my room, man. I'm tired. Just got there. And I get my phone ring as soon as I sit down. It's the GM. And he say, Frank, we called because we wanted you to take less money. I'm like, why y'all just calling me now? You could have called me yesterday, last week. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. The position I'm in and what I bring to this team, my numbers. And he said, well, we're going to have to let you go. And I'm like, you mean to tell me I travel way to Canada? I'm pissed again. I'm like, here we go. Why did I come way down here? Why did they do me like this? And I heard the Spirit of God say, get the attention off yourself. And I calmed down and I started to say, you know what? Let me go on before they come pick me up and take me back to the airport. Let me go see, because all the players checking into the hotel like I did. Let me go down there and see who need my service, who need to be prayed for, who I need to talk to and help out. So I went down there asking everybody, you good? You good? You good? Everybody was good. And I'm like, okay. Then my limo pulled up. Frank Murphy limo out there. I was like, all right, well, I guess it wasn't no problems. I guess everybody okay. So I got in the limo to go back to the airport, man. And I'm driving. He say, man, didn't I just drop you off? I was like, yeah, man. I say, but I don't know why I'm here, why they bring me way down here. He say, I do. I was like, what? What you mean you do? He said, I do, because I was just getting ready to commit suicide. And I had to pick you up. I said, oh, Lord. I humbled myself again, brother. And I said, pull over, man. Pull over. He said, you going to miss your flight? I said, I don't care about no flight. Pull over. And we began to talk, minister, and I began to just let God use me on another assignment, man. And that brother was built up. I was built up because I was hurt too, because I just built each other up, man. And that man's life has moved on, and he got his own company doing good. The last I heard, and that's why I say, man, you cannot paint your own picture when you're on assignment by God. When you're on a purpose by God, something by God, given to by God, you cannot paint your own picture. You are not the painter. You may have the brush, but you're not the painter. The Holy Spirit is the painter. He's going to lead you what you need to do. And I know it's hard sometimes. Listen, it's hard sometimes to trust, because we forget that the Holy Spirit is what was left to lead and guide us to victory. I played with Keyshawn Johnson and Keenan McCardell and Joey Galloway. And I remember Coach say, I want you to look at Keyshawn. Because Keyshawn, he can help you do this, and then he big like you. Look at Joey Galloway, because he fast like you. He said, look at Keenan. And I was like, huh. So I looked at all three of them, but I didn't really look at Keenan. You know why? Because he wasn't popular as Joey Galloway and Keyshawn Johnson. And come to find out, Keenan was the most polished receiver out of both of them. Polished, educated about the game, run the best routes. And I say all that to say, man, that we always keep our eye on God. And then we always keep our eye on Jesus. But we always forget about the Holy Spirit. Not as popular and as saying God and Jesus. And I want y'all to know, man, that God sent his only begotten son. I want y'all to know that his only begotten son, Jesus, went back and he left one thing. He didn't leave himself. He already gone. He already did what he came to do. God did what he came to do. He left one thing for us, and that's that Holy Spirit. And he said, if that's what you can hear, and that's what I'm working on right now in certain hard situations, is to trust the voice of God when he say, you got it, son, or trust me in this. Stop trying to take the baton. Stop trying to do it yourself. Stop trying to control situations. Just trust me. Because some of y'all may be in a relationship that God say, trust me with that young lady. Trust me with that young man. Y'all may be in a marriage that God say, trust me. But you don't want to trust because you've been hurt before and you're used to controlling situations. But I'm telling you today, you're not as smart as you think. Humble yourself. If you don't humble yourself, you'll find out real quick what you could have, should have had, or could have, should have did. And I'm thankful, brother, that I continue to humble myself and God continue to exalt me and educate me, inform me so I can be the man he called me to be in this season.
So now y'all see why I love this guy, man. And y'all, if you've been following me for any amount of time, for a week, 2 weeks, 2 years, you know he's preaching my book, my story. Y'all don't even got to buy the book now. You just got to listen to him. Man, you brought me back, and I'm gonna say this as we kind of land this plane here. Is I remember going into my senior year in college. I hadn't got the news yet that they wasn't gonna let me play anymore because of my back injury. Right. And so a lot of people still thought that, you know, hey man, you might have an opportunity to play at the next level and everything. But I knew my body was failing me. I knew that, you know, I was addicted to opioids, and that's the only thing that was keeping me on the field. I knew I could barely stand up. I knew the pain that I faced. I had been doing it for 2 years, and it was just like, no way. And I was all in my feelings about what opportunity I wasn't going to be able to do. And they're like, oh, you should come back, because our hometown, Jackson, Michigan, was playing Lumen Christi. So, you know, Jackson, that's where Tony Dungy from. And we was actually playing in Dungy Stadium against Lumen Christi, which is a big rivalry game. They haven't played in 10 years. Tony probably remember that. And so it's one of the biggest games that ever happened in that town there, right? They get together. I come back. I'm like, man, I don't want to come back. I don't want to deal with people. People going to be asking me about the league. I don't want to, you know, have to tell them I ain't going, whatever, right? I never forget, man. There was this guy. He was one of the best track runners, like fast, bro. Fast, like just naturally fast. Didn't even apply himself, just fast. He had records and wasn't even trying. That type of talent, right? I go back. I ain't seen this dude in years, 3-4 years. We're sitting along the fence, just catching up, and he looks at me, man, and he looks at me with tears in his eyes, and he goes, man, you know, we wish we could do what you do, Darryll. You know, you got to play at that next level. And I never forget, at that moment, 2 things happened in my spirit. Number one, my heart broke, because my first thought was, you could. you could have done it, right? If you was in the right position, right? If you would have had a mentor, if you would have had a program like what you run, you could have, right? And then the second thing that came to my mind was like, it's not too late, right? Because especially athletes in high school, you know, everybody know the guys that was like talented, never got the opportunity to play. They got in trouble. They didn't, you know, get a second, third, fourth chance like you did. But yet they still have them soft skills. They still have that talent. They still have that leadership ability. But in their minds, I ain't make it in sports. I'm not going to make it in life. And that's where one of the burdens for the organization started to be birthed. And I hadn't even gone through my suicidal phase yet. But I started to say, man, there's a whole group of people out there that think that their life has peaked because sports ended, when there's still potential inside of them, man. So I thank you for bringing me back and allowing God to lead you, because that encouraged me and brought me back to my core and my center. One thing I want to ask you before I'll let you go is, then this burden that we both carry to help others and to minister, it seems like there's way more need than there is supply. And it's a heavy burden. And you go and sometimes you preach and you minister and you talk to people who texting on their cell phone and they're not picking up what you're laying down. And it's hard to deal with because you see the potential inside of them. I want to know, how do you handle that burden?
What I've always done, because I took it so tough when I would try to mentor people and it wouldn't go right, or they'll still make bad decisions. So what I learned, I took this with me and said, one water, one plant, God get the increase. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Once I took myself out of the center of things and said, I may be the planter or I may be the water or I
Mm-hmm.
may be both, but I'm not the one that's about to get the increase. God is.
Mm-hmm.
And once I put that in my spirit and my heart, my mind and my soul, brother, it began to change the way I seen things, how I mentored. It took a lot of pressure and stress off me.
Mm-hmm.
When you humble yourself and know that you're not the one getting the credit, because a lot of people want to be famous and popular, and see, in, entertainment is different from impact.
Mm-hmm.
And I can entertain you all day,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to wear off. Entertainment wears off, but impact is a mark that can't be erased. So I
Mm-hmm.
started to realize that if I want to be popular and famous, I'm just going to entertain. If I want to be a person that leave impact, that's legacy. That's stuff that goes on forever and forever and forever. So once you take yourself out of the center and say, this is not my vision, this is God's vision.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start to realize that you need to change, because the mirror is not just to reflect what you see, it's to correct what you see.
Mm-hmm.
You start to change stuff about yourself, how you think, how you act, how you carry yourself, the position you put yourself in, and change your decision making. And you're going to be where you're supposed to be at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bring your past into your presence and destroy your future.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people bring that past bad decisions. I ain't say don't look at it and say, man, thank God for getting me out of that. But when you bring your past hurt,
Mm-hmm.
bring it into your present time and destroy your future, because that past is not beneficial to your future. You got to leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to look back and say, thank you, God, for bringing me from that, through that situation and from that situation. But it's not okay to bring it with you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people keep bringing luggage with them that you shouldn't bring.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna leave this. This is key. I mean, I'm gonna use this example, man. Imagine yourself going to a Christian club where they got water, bread. So you get in this Christian club, man, and you got your water, man. You got your virgin daiquiri, and you see God over there in the VIP. God in the VIP. You like, man, I gotta go see God. I heard about him, man. He popular, famous. He the guy. And man, you go over there with your homeboy and you can't get in. The guard, little security guard, stop you. No, you can't get in here. Okay, I'm gonna go get the owner of the club. He know me. Boom. You try to get in the the VIP session to see God, you get denied again. And I'm like, man, you know what? I'm gonna go get my mama. She a praying woman. She'll get me in this VIP session to see God. You denied again. And the Bible says in Colossians 3:3, it says, your life, which is your purpose, is with Jesus hidden in God. So you want to see your purpose and your life is hidden in God. And you keep going to the VIP session to see what's in there, but you keep getting denied because you want to come, you women want to come with Cardi B and you're denied. You men want to come with Drake and Moneybag, denied. I'm going to tell you, you're going to keep getting denied till you come with the right person. It's only one person that you can come with to get access and see your real life, your real purpose, like Colossians 3:3 say. You got to come with Jesus. And when I came with Jesus, I was no longer denied to see my life, because it said it was with Jesus but hidden in God. Now I got a chance to go in that VIP and look down in my life and say, this my life. God say, yes, it is, because I was with the right person. I'm going to ask you today who you with. Because if you know who you with, and you with the right person, you not only will see your life, but you'll live your best life ever. It's a promise. It's not something that I'm just talking about. It's a promise that you will see your real life. And it will change the way you see things and think. I'm not saying you won't continue to grow and continue to elevate in how you do things. But I'm telling you, that's the foundation of you going through every situation victorious. That's the start of you being everything that God called you to be. And I'm talking to men and women.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I'm going to constantly keep telling people, humble yourself. And I'll keep saying it while we on here. I'm doing the same thing that I'm asking y'all to do. I'm humbling myself in some situations that I got to let the Holy Spirit lead, and I got to trust him and stop taking the baton before I mess up good situations that God put in place.
Mm-hmm.
But I know God got restoration for you. I know he will restore you. And I'm asking you not to condemn yourself this morning, not to condemn yourself when you drop the baton, not to condemn yourself when you're out of position, not to condemn yourself when you make a mistake and say the wrong thing to the wrong people, not to condemn yourself if you don't trust somebody because you ain't trusting God first. Ain't got nothing to do with them. Don't condemn yourself. You're not a condemned building. So don't put a sign up telling people to condemn you. I'm telling you right now, you're a building that we're going to build back up, but we're going to build it with a strong foundation because you with Jesus. And now you see your life in God, and you're going to be the person that God called you to be starting now. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And y'all know that if that resonates with you, number one, we want to connect with you. We want to help you start this relationship with Jesus that he's talking about. You can go to secondchanceathletes.com/contact and just let them know, like, hey man, that I want to have a conversation about faith, and we'll be happy to walk you through that process. And number two, man, Frank, if someone is listening right now and they say, man, I don't know why that brother is speaking to me, it resonates, I want to connect, I want to support, I want to do something is jumping in me, how do they connect with you?
Man, first of all, Second Chance, I appreciate the opportunity, man. This is awesome, giving me the opportunity to do this, man. Y'all support Second Chance Athletes. It's doing this thing. It's impacting, it's empowering, and that's something that we all need to connect to. But to connect with me, go to my website, mwpcharity.org. That's www.mwpcharity.org. That's my nonprofit website. You'll be able to see what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the things that we're looking to do in the future, and the things we already have done. You go to that website. You also go to my www.frankdmurphy.com. That's www.frankdmurphy.com. You can see some more information about things I'm doing personally, and be on the lookout, man, for the new book called The Secret Playbook. Be on the lookout for the life story of Frank Murphy, the movie. We just finished that. Be on the lookout also next year, 2021, sometime in February, we launching the Frank D. Murphy Life Skill Curriculum. It's digital. That's something that can impact your life, how to deal with anger, how to deal with making decisions, how to deal with finding your identity, how to deal with how to find your purpose in that curriculum. And also be on the lookout our stage play. Our educational stage play is touring schools, but right now we're doing it virtual. So that'll be coming out as well, 2021 in January, February as well. Just thank you for this opportunity, brother. Anytime I can share my heart, I appreciate it. I'm humbled. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. So you guys go connect with my boy, man. They're doing great work. And man, I so appreciate you coming on today. Want to let you guys know that our next guest is going to be Brooke. I mean, you guys are going to learn a lot from her. She is in the entertainment industry, has done a lot of cool things. And so join us. All the information is on our page, and make sure you head over to get access to all of your bonuses for the book launch today and support inner city youth sports programs like, Frank's mentoring program that helps empower inner city youth who are struggling. It is my elder and Trooper White Mike, who was the chaplain for our football team at Central Michigan University, passed away in the middle of a marriage counseling session. I always say it this way: he passed away serving others, because serving others was his legacy. And I'm honored to continue his legacy by donating 100% of our book proceeds to that cause. So love you guys. And man, until next time, we'll see you. Peace.